Good morning. Hi, and welcome to Coffee with KBLIC. My name is Amber, and I'm a business and technology librarian at the Boston Public Library. Today, we're going to have another guest. He'll be joining us a little bit later, but it's Derek Lumpkins from Reevx Labs. Reevx Labs, oops, I dropped my notes. Reevx Labs is a community and co-working space, and Derek will be talking a little bit about Reevx, and we'll be talking about KBLIC's partnership with them. So, while we're here, I might as well just, oh, and this is his headshot, just so you can see. I'm just going to bring up the agenda today while we wait for Derek. So last week we spoke about nonprofits and the resources that KBLIC has for you to find funding for your nonprofit. So if you're looking for help, you can always contact us, and I'll put the contact information on the screen afterwards. We'll also be talking about Derek. We'll also be talking with Derek Lumpkins, as I said, from Reevx Labs, and some of the things that we do at KBLIC. We're hoping to answer some of your questions today. And if you don't have questions today, you can, if you're not logged in, you can always contact us later. I'll also be hoping to showcase your coffee cups. Have a coffee with me. Right now, I'm drinking some matcha because that's what I have left over. But I do have, I think I have an iced coffee back there. I'm kind of an iced drinks junkie. Let's see. And then we'll also talk about some upcoming events as well. So I'll actually bring up the upcoming drop-ins. And so Derek, again, will be joining us a little bit later. But tomorrow we're going to have a class on interviewing. And then on the 11th, we'll have a job seekers discussion group. We also have small business drop-ins every Thursday. So that's with Anthony. You met him last week. And my colleague, Gregor, who is the curator of the department. And they will help you sort of step by step through some questions that you have, and you can ask them one-on-one. And they can go into a little bit more depth than what I can do here. Anthony also is having grant seekers help every Friday. We have an extended access to the Foundation Center Essentials, which is really exciting. And if you are looking for funding for your nonprofit, let's say you're at Reevx Labs and you want to gain access to that for your nonprofit, you can access that online through our website. And I can go over that at the end. I'd also like to point out some of the other services that we do have here at the Kirstein Business Library and Innovation Center. You can email us. That's the best way to get in contact with us, is email us at ask@bpl.org. And you can also attend a drop-in. Next week, we're going to be talking with SCORE, and SCORE is one of our oldest partners. So Reevx is our newest, but SCORE is one of our oldest partners, and they'll be rounding out the end of this sort of pilot season. So SCORE are free business mentors, and they can help you sort of from ideation to your full creation of your business. Once you're a client of SCORE, it doesn't matter where your mentor is, you are a client of SCORE. And Elliot Laffer is the guest next week, and he'll go in a little more into what SCORE does and sort of our relationship with the KBL. So we also have small business legal consultations. You can request a 30-minute phone consultation with Goodwin Procter. And these are limited to sort of IP, contracts, debt and loan structures, and they can help you sort of with these legal questions that's sort of outside the scope of what we at the Kirstein Business Library can help with. And again, you can just email us at ask@bpl.org. And it's helpful if you put small business legal consult in the subject line. Now, if you have questions today, you can comment in the live chat if you're logged in on YouTube, and we'll be going back and forth between that. You can you can email us at ask@bpl.org, and you can tweet at us at BPL Kirstein. And you can give us a call, but that's not the best way to get a hold of us. But I would recommend just sort of checking out the um, just emailing us. So let's see. Let me just check my email 1 second, and we'll see. Let's see. See if we have any updates. He will be coming from a meeting, so I can talk about a couple of other resources that I didn't talk about in the last couple of episodes. So let's see what's going on. And I can highlight those. And you can use all of these from home. One of my favorite resources is Emergent Intellect. And I will showcase that as well. So slow going. Computer's funny. Come on. Isn't that always the way when you're trying to do something on your laptop and it just slows down? It is what it is. So, and you know what I am gonna do while we're here. Is I'm just gonna make sure that he has this. Oh, you are being slow. Ah, my Zoom attendees are waiting. Whoops! I accidentally enabled the waiting room. Ah, beautiful. There he is. Awesome. Hello.
Hey, good morning. Sorry, I was trying to log in and for some reason the link wouldn't work.
Oh no, I was about to send you the link because I was like, oh, I thought I sent it to you, but I wasn't sure. So I'm
You
glad
did.
you're.
You definitely sent it to me, but for some reason when I clicked on it, it said the meeting was scheduled for yesterday. Or no, for
Oh,
2 days ago actually, and it just wouldn't let me in, so I had to just manually type it in.
weird. Oh, because it was. I don't know why it said that. Interesting. Well, all right. Well, Derek's here. So I was
Good
just
morning,
giving a little
everyone.
bit of overview, sort of waiting just to get in. I wanted to thank you for coming in today, but talking with us today on this stream. I really appreciate it. And I gave a little explanation about Reevx Labs, but actually, let me pull this back up. So I'm just gonna have us talking on the screen. Derek, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Reevx Labs?
Sure. So I am the Reevx director for Berkshire Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And Reevx Labs is Berkshire Bank's investment in local communities and the people who live and work in them. So Reevx Labs, right now we have one open up in Boston in Roxbury, right in the heart of Nubian Square. And then we have others that are planned to open up around the Northeast later this year and early next year. And Reevx Labs are designed to provide various resources and opportunities for the people who live and work in certain neighborhoods, particularly if they work as entrepreneurs, small business owners, or if they are nonprofit heads of nonprofits. And basically, the one in Roxbury, since that's the one that's open,
Right.
is divided into two sections. The first section is a co-working space,
Nice.
and the rear section, pre-COVID, was an event space.
Uh,
And we start. Sorry.
oh, sorry. I was agreeing. I was just chuckling when
Oh,
you
okay.
said pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, quick question before I explain a little further. Is there a way to see you? Because I can't see you on my screen.
Oh, you can see the stream. We can definitely send you the stream, and I can send that to you in the chat. Hold on. Doop,
Okay,
doop, doop.
perfect. So I'll
It'll
just keep it.
be a little bit on delay, but just so you know. But
Well, if there's another chuckle again, I want to make sure that I'm not missing a question. That I'm seeing what's going on.
okay.
Yeah, so I'll explain a little further as I wait for that link to come in. So the Roxbury space setup is co-working in the front and an event space in the back. And pre-COVID, so I'll speak about pre-COVID and then during this time. So pre-COVID, we were open for people to drop in, and as I said work as a co-working space. So folks would drop in, they could have meetings, they could be in their laptops. It was really just an open space for folks to come in and work without having to travel a long distance. A lot of the people who were looking to support, as I said, are artists, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and nonprofit heads or nonprofit workers in general in and around Greater Roxbury. And because we offer free space, this was just an opportunity for people to come and work, to network, to meet, to, just to learn from each other, because it really isn't a space like that here in Roxbury. And in the back, the event space was designed to be used, for all kinds of events. So for networking, for seminars, for workshops. We've had people come and do filmings there for their podcast, not for the broadcast, for their broadcast. We have had people come and do some podcast recordings. So it's meant to be this multi-use space, again, right in the heart of Roxbury. And pre-COVID, we had a great turnout. People were coming in frequently in very large numbers. We even had a class from Boston University that's focused on entrepreneurship scheduled to come and check us out. And of course, that they were scheduled to come after the COVID shutdowns began. So we opened January 22nd of this year. We had to shut down for the COVID related reasons, March 16th. I think that was the day the schools also closed. And then we just reopened again the Monday after July 4th. So I think that was July 6th this year. So we've been open, we've been reopened just under a month. And we're beginning to see people come back. We were wondering if people would come back. We did send out a survey asking folks how they felt about coming back to a co-working space during the age of COVID. There was some hesitancy, but after informing people and reassuring them that we are adhering to all of the COVID guidelines, reduced capacity, the cleaning supplies, the social distancing, the movement of the tables, all of those things, we're seeing people come back. And I think that really speaks to the fact that people do really want and they need a space in this community where they can come, work, network, and just feel like they're working in a professional environment, not at their kitchen table, not at a small desk at home, but really in a professional environment where they can be supported by the bank resources and also meet others who are doing something similar.
Wow, that was a great overview. Sorry, my computer is going so slow. I'm just trying to get the link and it's just going so slow.
No worries. We'll treat this like a radio interview.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to, when I have the urge to chuckle, I'm having the urge to smile. I'll just smile instead. So,
okay.
Yeah. So it looks like, so someone did ask, you touched on it a little bit, but they were asking if this costs anything, for the folks.
That's a great question. So we have gotten that question ever since we opened on day one. And I'll sort of give like a bigger, and I'll answer the question, but give sort of a bigger answer. So since day one, so the way our place is designed, we have a large plate glass window in the front. There's no bars, there's no shutters. When you look through, it's light and bright. It's wood, nice wood walls or exposed brick. Everything is new, and so people would come in. They would come through the door and they say, "What is this? Who are you? What's going on here?" And we would explain, what I just explained about what we are and what we do. And then I would tell them, I or someone else on staff would say, everything is free. So it's free and open to the public. At this time in the age of COVID, we do ask that you go on our website and make a reservation to come in, just so that we can keep track of the numbers. But still, everything is free. You can come in at any time while we're open. And, prior to the age of COVID, you could even make a reservation for the event space for free. So there is no charge at all.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure. So let me also add this piece, because I think this might also help people conceptualize a little bit better. So Reevx Labs is positioned to be a socially responsible brand, which is part of the reason why, we're offering this, the bank is offering this for free, and it's being put into neighborhoods where there aren't often a lot of resources. So, we started off in Roxbury because there is no co-working space in Roxbury. A lot of the co-working spaces in Boston are downtown, or they're in Cambridge, maybe they're in Charlestown, or the Seaport. Folks from this neighborhood or neighborhoods nearby have to travel downtown.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we have thousands of people here, and
Mm-hmm.
Roxbury itself is larger than all of downtown Boston geographically. So it's good to have something in a neighborhood where people can literally walk down the street. Walk out of your house and walk down the street. Like I can walk from my house to Reevx Labs in 10 minutes. And when I think about the wealth of talent that's in this neighborhood, I think just about the proximity of people who have all these connections or all these networks, and yet we don't always know.
Right.
So, for example, my next door neighbor, my literal next door neighbor, is an executive at a nonprofit, and it's a national nonprofit, but he's an executive in it. I had no idea until he came to the opening for Reevx Labs, and we started talking.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and we've lived next to each other for about 5 years. Our backyards touch each other. We have shared gardening tips, and we talk about what's going on in the neighborhood, but we've never talked about work until we literally met at Reevx Labs, and we started talking about what each of us does. And that kind of sparked some other conversations about who else is in the neighborhood and how we could all collaborate. So that I think is the power. It's an example of the power of having something like this in this neighborhood.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I think when our mission to sort of help folks who are starting their small business, we are sort of located downtown, so we don't get to mix as much with like folks who are doing stuff out in the community. That's why it's exciting to have this partnership with Reevx, just because we have the ability to sort of go to that space. A lot of our space pre-COVID had sort of similar amenities. We had 8 workstations with the full Adobe Creative Cloud, so people could work on creating content for their businesses. And then we had a classroom that folks could book, and we could use it as an event space as well. And then also a bookable space for podcasts and vlogging. Which is all free. And it's exciting to hear that you guys have the similar amenities, and hopefully as all this COVID stuff dies down, we'll be able to connect more on that creative side of the business, because I think folks forget about that content creation, and it's also one of the barriers to getting your business recognized. I think when you don't have the ability to create interesting content for a social media presence, for example. So having that equipment, that access to software, it is really important to a small business, and also the know-how and the resources.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple of comments. Someone was saying downtown is very hard to get to, and I agree with that. I live out in Brighton, and I'm like curious to see how it's gonna go once I start going back in regularly, because college kids on the train.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna buy a bike. And then we have another comment. Are you finding it difficult for people to chat and network as they're using the space? Because we are probably going to have a cap on our space when we decide to open. Keep looking at our websites, folks, about updates for that. I don't have a date, but have you noticed that there is a different kind of, is there a different vibe? There must be.
Yeah, I would say that there is a different vibe, not just about the space, but just about life in general. I mean, everyone is a little bit more hesitant, a little bit more cautious. And I think they're not hesitant to talk to each other, but just to be out of doors, out of their own houses.
Right.
So I think there's some hesitancy there. But as I said, people are coming, and they are having, smaller conversations. It's not as free and, as freewheeling as it used to be, when you could actually stand next to someone or sit next to someone and, have like a more intimate conversation. Now you do have to maintain the 6 feet of social distance unless the two people are coming together and they've, both know each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that overall spirit of wanting to be in a space where ideas happen and where ideas become more collaborative, I think is still there. And I feel people are still responding to that, and they still want to be part of that.
Yes.
I was asked a question, I guess on Friday, Friday morning, a very similar question about what I thought about the future of co-working space and the viability of it. And I still believe in it. I still do, not just because of what I'm seeing here in Roxbury, but also because of the partnerships that we're building in other cities around the region. And we're getting the same. Um, the same commentary of people saying, we really want this to happen. We know that COVID is making it a little bit more difficult because we have to maintain the social distancing,
Right.
but we really want this to move forward. We want this to be a resource and a place where people can feel supported as they grow their ideas, grow their businesses, or develop their nonprofits.
Sure.
So, there is some hesitancy there for sure, but I feel like it's not something that can't be overcome.
Right. It's we gotta wait, and I feel you on the need to feel supported and have that space. Libraries try to sort of fill that role, but when the location isn't near where the people are, it's kind of hard to support that. And there was a comment in the chat, it's hard to create when you're constantly on an island, and I think that is super insightful. And like having the ability to connect and actually share ideas actually strengthens the community, like 100%. And that's sort of the goal of this Coffee with KBLIC, is to sort of give people the opportunity to chat. We're still sort of refining how the format's going to go. But I'm hoping that when people watch the stream, either live or later, they get some sort of idea generation as well. It's one of those things, like, it's just difficult to sort of meet people where they are now, and it's that reality, and this is the best we can kind of do. So
right.
yeah.
Just sort of expanding on the idea of support and expanding on the idea of resources. So in addition to Reevx Labs being a co-working / event space, it's also a place where we have bank staff called My Bankers, where they will work out of. So we have 4 My Bankers, and I sent you their photos. I don't know if you'll post them on the show, but if folks go to reevxlabs.com and then click on the products tab, you can see them and you can get their names and their contact information. But I'm bringing them up because the Reevx My Bankers are they offer concierge banking services regardless of someone's assets. So what do I mean by that? So in a lot of places, in a lot of financial institutions, for someone to have a concierge level banker, they would have to have a very high net worth. And we are trying to democratize banking and make it much more accessible. So the My Bankers they used to work a little bit more out of Reevx Labs in Dudley Square in Nubian Square, but they can also travel to someone's house. They can travel to someone's business. Yeah, they will travel around and they'll meet people where they are physically in order to help make banking easier and much more accessible. And I want to tie this to what we were talking about earlier in terms of some of the niche that each My Banker has. So we have 4 My Bankers. 3 are here in Eastern Mass, and 1 is in Western Mass. So the 3 here, so Carlene Parsena, so they can all do all types of banking needs, but they do have niches. So Carlene Parsena focuses on nonprofits. Edgar Artie is a military vet, and so he focuses on the needs of military vets. Rob Torres, who is our most senior My Banker, has a focus on small businesses and the formerly incarcerated. And then Romolina Brantley, who is based in Springfield, has a focus on families and children. And so one of his things is he's creating a curriculum to help particularly young children ages 4 to 9 understand compound interest and how banking works.
Oh, that's amazing.
So they can all do all types of banking. So those niches are just what they like to focus on because that's where their backgrounds have led them to. But I just want to mention those folks because they can meet, like I said, meet people where they are. So if you don't want to leave your house but you still have banking needs, they can come and meet you at your house or at a coffee shop or wherever else.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that you have someone personally to help with folks who are ex-offenders because it is difficult, and that is a barrier for folks,
Hmm.
especially when they they've served their time, they're doing well, and they're trying to come back to the community, and then you know getting those assets and preparing yourself to have a small business is one of those things. Like oh, that's so exciting to know. Sorry, occasionally we get folks who are ex-offenders, have a quarry, and I'm not quite sure, how to help them. We do have other services to sort of refer them to, but that's good. And so when folks ask us about like financing, that's actually really helpful to know that they have someone that they can talk to. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so one of the things that, and you sort of touched on it, was sort of disrupting these sort of barriers to access and providing equitable access to banking resources for people, and also the space for people. I didn't know if there was anything else that you wanted to highlight that Berkshire Bank or Reevx Labs is hoping to sort of attempt at the last couple of quarters of this year, since things are constantly moving. Um, yeah.
They are
Yeah.
constantly moving. I mean, if there's one thing 2020 is teaching all of us, it's how to be adaptable and flexible.
Oh, that's for
Um,
sure.
yeah, in the face of changing circumstances. Um, Without going into the products, because I feel like the My Bankers would be better positioned to talk about
Of course.
products.
Yep.
Revex Lab. So, as I said, we just opened in January of this
Mm-hmm.
year, and we've been sort of open off and on because of COVID. But the overall goal, overall mission of Revex Labs is really to help people be banked with dignity.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people who just are not,
Right.
and our goal, especially in terms of the location, in addition to it just being more convenient, it's really about serving the underbanked and the
Right.
unbanked.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a statistic, I guess it was last week, that 50% or around 50% of people in Black and Brown communities are underbanked or unbanked, meaning that they either don't use banks, they don't have a relationship with a bank, or
Mm-hmm.
they rely upon the check cashers. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
yeah, or predatory lending, or just
Right.
different things like that. So, we're trying to bank people with dignity and provide them with services in their communities, and in a way which allows them to not be charged those ridiculously high fees
Right.
that a check casher might. And also, just gives them an opportunity to develop a real relationship with the bank, because they can actually meet a My Banker, and then develop that one-on-one rapport and receive that help.
That's amazing. I actually have a question, and it's related to a question that popped up in the chat. So, Sherry is asking if there's a travel radius or certain criteria for banking help. She might live outside the city. And then I had a question too. Is there a size limit on the kinds of businesses that you will help? So,
Great questions.
yeah,
So there is no travel radius.
nice.
We will work across Massachusetts. So as I said, we've got three in Eastern Mass. One lives in Boston, one lives in Cambridge, one lives in Beverly. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll travel. They all have cars, so they'll all travel around the metro region or further. I know that Rob, who I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
he went down to Martha's Vineyard one time because someone wanted to open up a CD.
Okay.
So yeah,
Wow.
so we'll travel around Massachusetts for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to help. However people and wherever they are. And then I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Sure. In terms of business size or business type, is there a restriction on who you can help, who can use the spaces that you have?
So there is no restriction on who can use Revex Labs.
Okay.
It could be a small business, it could be an entrepreneur, it could be an artist, it could be an individual. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no limit in terms of the using of the space. And then in terms of providing services,
Mm-hmm.
we will work with again, individuals, small businesses, nonprofits. There's really no limit.
Okay.
And thinking about the PPP loans that were going on over the summertime with the federal government relief package,
Mm-hmm.
we worked with large businesses and we worked with micro businesses that were businesses of one or two.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there's no limit.
I saw a statistic in sort of recently that like 52% of businesses are sort of home based, and like almost 80% of businesses are sort of non-employer, meaning like there's one person sort of, or not, they don't have employees. So like it's just like one person sort of running the show. So I
Mm-hmm.
assume that a good portion of the folks that have been utilizing your space sort of fit in those categories.
They do. They do. It's really run a gamut, but it does tend to be on the smaller side,
Mm-hmm.
down to like one, two, maybe three people.
Is there a particular industry that you've noticed you guys have attracted? I know you've mentioned nonprofits, but is there any sort of other types of business that you see? We see a lot of folks who do a lot of freelance work, as well as folks who do some consultancy. Um, so that's one of those things, and we do see a lot of nonprofits, and it
Mhm.
runs all over. So like education nonprofits, cultural institutions. Um, and I'm trying to think. Occasionally, the cannabis-based business,
Mhm.
um, but I was wondering if there was any particular sector that was strongly represented in the folks who use your space.
Well, based upon the list you just gave, I feel like we're probably seeing the same people.
Oh,
So,
okay.
we're seeing folks from the cannabis industry because
Mm-hmm.
that's nascent, that's just getting started.
Right. Exactly.
In terms of it, the legality of it now here in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing folks from the educational nonprofits, particularly those that are also trying to start up. We've had a couple of consultants come in,
Mm-hmm.
various types. So it's a very similar, very overlapping group. It sounds like between the two of us.
Ah. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Uh, I have a question. So you've been working at Reevx for the last 6 months,
Yeah,
right?
this is
Yeah.
my 6 month anniversary today, actually.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Hands up in the air, woo! So I was gonna say, what's your favorite part about working at Reevix? I'm just curious.
I really have been enjoying the pursuit of building out the spaces outside of Boston.
Nice.
So we have the one in Roxbury,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have two in production in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
One that's looking for a site in Providence, and then we're in conversation with a nonprofit in New York. And then we're having conversations with other nonprofits in other cities around the Northeast. So what I like about those, one is just getting out and seeing other parts of the area. Like I'm from Boston. I work in Boston. I generally don't leave Boston. I don't even cross the river to go to Cambridge half the time. So it's been kind of nice to get out and about and see other places and meet other people and then hear these ideas. And what I like about them is that these Reevx Labs locations outside of Boston will be operated differently.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, so here in Roxbury, because the bank is headquartered here in Boston and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
our staff are here in Boston, this Revex Labs is directly bank staff operated. So I have a direct report who is there every day, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll go down there sometimes. We'll open and close, we'll make sure things are set up. We'll check on things. It's directly bank staff operated. But in the other cities, we will be partnering with local nonprofits who will open and close, who operate the space, who will provide some programming. And then part of what we'll do is bring some of our bank programming. So information around financial education, home ownership
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, those types of things. We'll bring that to the mix. And what I like about this partnership is that we're talking to and working with nonprofit organizations that
Mm-hmm.
already have something happening.
Right.
They're already doing something in their communities. And so when we've been going in, we're saying, we want to come and partner with you. And these are nonprofits that have already existed in different networks of people who work for the bank. Um, so when we're talking to them, we're saying, we want to work with you in some way, shape, or form through Reevx Labs. You already have X. What would you want to do if we came in and be a partner? So what would be your next step if you had the additional backing and the additional
Mm-hmm.
support of the bank? And so depending upon the city, they're telling us different things. And so
Okay.
each Revex Labs in these other cities will be somewhat customized to the need and to the size of the city that we're working with.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been really interesting. It's kind of a challenge trying to think about how to keep everything somewhat standardized, but at the same time, it's also exciting to build something that is, very much responsive to what's happening on the ground in a particular location.
That's really cool. So, one of the challenges we face is that as the Library for the Commonwealth, we do serve the whole state of Massachusetts. But people sort of have an idea that, oh, the Boston Public Library is sort of centered around Boston. But really, our services are for the whole state. And talking about getting into communities such as like Springfield and bringing them some of the resources that we have at the Kirstein Business Library. That's really cool. Essentially, you're just helping these nonprofits when you're going to these community sort of capacity build, and that's just like really nice to hear. Um, let's see. I'm trying to look at my notes, make sure I grabbed everything I wanted to say. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Yeah. Is there anything that is there anything else you'd like to highlight? So right now, I actually, on the screen, I brought up sort of the resources on the entrepreneurial support page on the website. Is there anything that you wanted to point out on this web page? We have a link to some of the resources that we have from the Boston Public Library, but did you want to talk about some of the things from the Wellspring Spring Group or Optima or any of these other resources?
I would say that everything is evolving
Yes.
because the website went live the middle of July. So, it's new, and the content is still in development and still coming in. So I would say there isn't particularly one thing that I would want to point out,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that similar to this show, everything is evolving, and it's evolving in the age of a time where everything has to evolve all the time,
Of
constantly.
course.
So I would say to folks, look at the website, which is revexlabs.com,
Mm-hmm.
and just click around and see what interests you, because I don't know who's on the call, who's listening.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't want to just point people to one thing and they have them miss a lot of other things. So I would say,
Okay.
check out everything. Some things are links, some things are videos. So, consume what makes sense for you to consume. Um, and then if you have questions, especially reach out to the My Bankers. So again, they're on the products
Mm-hmm.
tab under My Banker,
Right.
and they're happy to answer questions about anything you might have questions about.
And so I just brought up the products page just so people can look at that. But there's also underneath the Join the Movement tab. I saw that you can become a member. What does membership actually do? I'm just curious. Do you have to be a member to use this space?
No, no one has to become a member to use the space. Membership is really just a way of us getting to know someone better. So, we just ask for information about where folks are from, what their business or
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit does, just, what they're kind of looking for from Revex Labs. And by becoming a member, it just allows us to be able to send people information as we grow. So, as we have more information that gets added to the website, we can send out a newsletter. We send out monthly, maybe bi-weekly communications, just informing people about what's going on, especially since Revex Labs, the physical site was closed for a while.
Right.
That was our way of communicating with folks. But just in thinking ahead,
Mm-hmm.
because we are looking at opening for other sites uh, within the next year or so, one of the things that we're thinking about doing and thinking about how to do it is how to network each of the sites.
Okay.
So that is not, if you come to Roxbury, you're in Roxbury and that's it. Or if you go to Providence, you're in Providence and that's it. But if you come to Roxbury, how do you learn about what's happening in Providence or Springfield or New York? And
Right.
how do you take advantage of that, and vice versa? So we're thinking about how that networking can happen on a larger scale,
Mm-hmm.
across state lines and across the different Revex Labs locations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Um,
membership really is just a way for us to say, it's kind of like, right now I'll say it's kind of like, join our newsletter, but it's a little bit more
mm-hmm.
than that, because we don't want to just people, we don't want people just to think, "Oh, I'm going to get a newsletter every so often and that's it." We really want people to feel like this is something that can be part of their lives
Right.
and can be part of their businesses, and that's much more of a movement than just an informational thing.
Yeah. And it's an easy way to connect. I mean, that's how we have a newsletter, you know, and that's how we get the information out on a lot of our programming. And I find that that's like the best way of getting in touch with a lot of folks. I did see something on your website. I'm trying to pull it up. I thought I had bookmarked the link, but I saw something about being a was it mentorship? If you can be a mentor, is that something, or did I just make that up?
Mm, I don't remember. I'm looking at the website now. I don't
I
remember
think I
seeing
might
that.
just be crazy. It's the heat talking. So I think I
Was
just,
become a member or become a mentor? Because become a
um,
member is here.
yeah, maybe I just had a moment. Sometimes I have like a dyslexic moment. So I might have
That's
just
fine.
misinterpreted that.
We'll just blame it on Monday.
We'll just blame it on COVID.
Or that too, whichever.
Yeah. But I will say that any of the folks who use your space are also welcome to ours as well. My colleague posted in the chat on how to sign up for an e-card, and you can get access to a lot of the resources that I mentioned. I mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the video. Let me just pull something up about the resources that we do have. We're looking for to start with their small business, just to so you know that what we have. We can help with research, and I'm hoping that like once things open up a little more, me or one of my colleagues can go and we can maybe, you know, talk about that with some of the folks in the space. And we have like online drop-ins, but we also have a partnership with Score, and we'll be talking with them next week. And if you're looking for a small business mentor, that's something that we can arrange. And then we also have a partnership with a law firm. So if there's any legal questions outside of the banking stuff that you need help with, so like things like intellectual property contracts, debt and loan structures, we can set that up so you can talk to a legal expert. So I just wanted to point those things out. And any of the folks that are a member of your space or that use your space are welcome to use the resources that we have at the Kirstein Business Library and Innovation Center. We also have some drop-ins coming up too, including small business drop-ins. It would be cool once like the space opens, whenever that happens, or our space opens, or if we can go to your space, we'll have to figure that out. We could do like a drop-ins there. I don't know what's on the radar for that. That's just an idea spitballing, but that would be an interesting thing to do. But we do have online ones, and you are welcome to sort of refer people to the small business drop-ins, because we can give you a little bit more personalized attention. The first two streams I showed how to use a couple of databases that you can use to generate client lists, as well as resources for researching an industry. And then we also have grant seekers help. And I mentioned at the top of the stream that folks can use the foundation online essentials to search for funding through grants for their nonprofit. That's not the only stream of funding, and I'm sure my bankers can talk about, you know, some funding structures for folks with nonprofits, and they can also talk to Score. There's just a wealth of resources that have been opened up just because of this partnership, just because of the questions that, you know, we can't answer. We can sort of fill in with through you and our other partners. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just had that up on the screen. And so while we were talking, I did try to, you know, have the website up. And so I had that sort of in the background. My connection has been sort of crummy this morning. YouTube's been yelling at me saying my connection's poor. So I was a little afraid to do something lest my computer crash like it did last week.
Oh, wow. No,
Yeah,
totally understand.
it's warm in my apartment, so I don't think my computer really likes it.
Yeah, I just got onto the YouTube. I see you with your sunglasses on, so
Oh,
you look very summery. So I'm guessing it is really hot in your apartment.
oh yeah. Um, so yeah, hair up today. Woo. Um,
Yeah, me too.
it's so I do have the contact information. Oh, actually, you know what I want to do? I forgot to do it at the top of the stream. Actually, let me make sure that there are no other questions, because I kind of popped off of that, and I want to make sure that I'm talking to folks Let's see. Oh, someone said good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good
Thanks
morning,
for,
Patricia.
yes. Oh, is that one of your colleagues? Yeah.
No, I just see your name here, so I figured
Oh,
to
oh,
say good
you have
morning.
it live. Yes.
Yeah. I see Tina Johnston is excited, so we're excited to work with her.
Yeah. So Tina had a lot of great questions last week, I believe. So it's exciting to sort of see some repeat folks. Um, and yes, so there's links in the chat if folks want to take advantage of those. Oh, now it's saying the stream is healthy. Ah, and it's close to the end. So let's see. I did want to see if folks shared their coffee cups. Let me pull that up. I'm going to refresh and just see. The original intent for these was to actually have like an in-person networking event. Oh, of course, something went wrong. Try again. So I'm going to try that. And have like an online meetup. So, oh, we got some coffee cups. Cool. And I'm going to pull that up right now. Boom. So, here we go. So, someone's excited. They forgot about their toast. So, let's see. Nice dragonfly mug. Can you see how slow my computer is? That looks really nice. So, are you drinking coffee right now? I'm just curious.
I am actually not a coffee drinker.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we chatted about that. Someone's a BC Eagles fan. Cool. And this is the promotional post. So that's exciting. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Let's see. So I have my coffee. I had a matcha earlier. I am like an iced drink junkie. I drink it. Yeah, it's one of those things. Let's see. We don't have any questions on Twitter. Let me just make sure that there are no other questions in the stream. Yes. Oh, yeah. And my colleague was kind enough to put the resources that are available at KBLIC on the chat and in the link. And we'll have links in the description below as well in this playlist. Let's see. One last question. I'm just curious. What have you been reading and watching lately?
Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Of course, my book is downstairs, so I can't remember the title of it.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but I will say I have been reading because I made a goal for. I was better last year than this year, but my goal was to read one book a month, and I was moderately successful at that last year. And
Okay.
I had a goal for that this year, but then I changed jobs, and then COVID hit, and then I just kind of got distracted. But in terms of what I'm watching, man, I hate when I blank out like this. So I've watched. Oh, I devoured Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to explain, but basically the underlying premise is that humanity has more or less managed to conquer death by being able to upload the human consciousness to an electronic disc. So basically, what we can do is get rid of our bodies, put our consciousness on a disc, and then put it into a new synthetically created body. And so you can live forever.
Oh, wow. I think I saw the trailer for that. I don't actually have Netflix, but I think I saw the trailer for that. I think it's called, is it a Boltzmann brain or something? There's like a bunch of different stuff in like sci-fi and like futurism. It's always been a side interest. Oh, it's not a Boltzmann brain. Maybe I'm thinking of Brain in the Jar thought experiment. But that, like, it's super cool, like to sort of think about things like that. So that's cool. I was going to remind people that if you're reading or watching something, you can go to the Boston Public Library website. We have a bunch of DVDs and we have streaming media through Canopy. And that's something you can access with your e-card or physical library card. And you can place holds on DVDs and you can pick them up at your the best pickup location for you. So, do you remember what the book is about? I'm just curious. Sorry, I switched gears really quickly.
I do remember what it's about. So it does take place in the near future.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure why society has broken down,
Hmm.
but basically, it follows the day to day life of this young woman. I think she's a young woman. I think she's a teenager who has this ability to feel other people's emotions.
Oh, cool.
And so as society is breaking down and people are, they can't go outside a certain wall around the town, or otherwise they don't come back.
Oh.
So she kind of feels the pain of
Hmm.
them as they're agonizing over whether or not to go, and over that she's agonizing over life itself. Oh, it's by Octavia Butler.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And I can't remember the name of it though.
Let's use the Octavia Butler. Let's see if we can pull it up. Is it a newer book?
I believe
It,
so.
it, okay. So there's Dawn, Adult Rights. Uh, let's see. Do. It's not a graphic novel, is it?
No.
Is it? Let's see.
I'm on my computer too.
Parable of the Sower.
That's the one.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the graphic novel. Whoops. So
Well, the one I'm reading is not graphic. It's just a
okay,
standard novel.
okay. Uh, there's unexpected stories. I'm just looking through a bunch of the. You can search by Octavia Butler on our catalog, and you can find a bunch of stuff by her, and you can check it out on Hoopla. Many titles which are on demand, so that's pretty cool. So if you really like her writing and you want to get a book, you don't have to necessarily order it or purchase it. You can definitely check out the library's resources as well. I just finished Tomie by Junji Ito. It's a manga, and it's basically a story about a woman who is like a succubus, and it sort of follows her various iterations of herself as she's like just reincarnated, and like the havoc she wreaks on people's lives. So it's an interesting book. Um, I've been on like a horror manga kick actually recently, so that's kind of what I've been reading, sort of escapism somehow. Um, I was gonna say, oops, let's see. Oh,
I saw a question from Patricia Belfield,
yes.
and she has a question about the boot camp, the business boot camp.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's actually one of our partnerships, and it's
Nice.
done in collaboration with Optima. So UPTIMA, Optima instead of Optima.
Mm-hmm.
And so Optima is the one that runs the boot camp, and so Patricia's question is about how to learn more about that. So I would suggest that you reach out to them directly.
Okay.
So I clicked through the links on their site, so I can just tell you the information. So
Mm-hmm.
to contact them directly, the phone number is 617-420-6270.
And I'm just actually going to go right to the website so folks can see that. And hopefully I remembered to transition to that. Continue. So I'm just going to open the optimabootcamp.com. And here it is. So you be your own boss, start your own business. And I'm just going to go down and put the contact information on the screen if it's at the bottom or at the top. I thought it was. Well, I have the website up so folks can take a look at it. And we'll put that as a link in the down bar at the bottom as well. So let me just pull that up. And I will paste that in there. So Tina is recommending Cursed on Netflix. It's the retelling of The Lady in the Lake, so that's exciting. Oh, and I just popped that Optima Bootcamp in the description, so if people want to come and check that out, they can go and look at that website. Let's see. I'm trying to think. So is there anything else you want to cover? Because we're almost at the top of the half hour. Yeah.
I think I've pretty much covered all of the main points. Just want to repeat, just to answer some of the questions again, that we are open in Dudley Square. We're on Washington Street,
Mm-hmm.
directly next to the Silver Slipper. So if you know where that is, we're literally
Nice.
the next door neighbor. We're between the Silver Slipper and Castillo Liquors. And our front door faces Bank of America's side wall. So if you're familiar with that, it's basically the intersection of Washington and Malcolm X.
Okay.
So we're very easy to find, very conveniently located. There is parking in the back if you need to park there.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, and then again, it's municipal parking, so the parking is free. Our space is free, so again, you can drop in, but again, we do encourage you to just submit a reservation request
Mm-hmm.
on our website, just so that we can keep track of numbers. And if we do, for some reason, hit capacity, you then won't be just waiting outside. We can tell you, when we'll have some free time. But again, we're free and open to the public. Reevx Labs is the space.
Mm-hmm.
There's always these resources here, revexlabs.com. And if anybody has more questions or would like to learn more about the products, you can reach out directly to the My Bankers, and they are listed on our website under the products tab.
Oh, thank you so much. I just pulled up the reserve a space or reserve a co-working space page just so people can see it. And then that because it's in Nubian Square, it's by a lot of bus lines as well. If people feel compelled to take public transit right now, I don't know how folks feel about that, but it is pretty close to a bunch of bus lines, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
there's like 16 or 18 bus lines that run through there.
Yeah. So very convenient for folks, especially if they live in the other parts of the city, like in the southern parts of the city, like southern Dorchester and Mattapan. It's easier to get to Dudley than it is to get to downtown a lot of the time. Let's see. I wanted to thank you again for taking this time to speak with me this morning and getting the information out about Reevx Labs. It's really exciting to hear about the different different initiatives going on around the city and the different opportunities for our patrons and other folks to start their small business. Right now, I think there is an opportunity for a lot of folks just because they have more time, whether or not they've been laid off, unfortunately, or if they're a more flexible work schedule that they have will allow them to sort of pursue their passion projects. And so it's great to know that there is help and there is resources besides the library. If we can't meet their needs, it's good to know. It's good for those folks to know that you guys are there as well. So thank you so much for joining me this morning.
No, thank you so much for having me on. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah. So I'm just checking the chat. I don't see any other questions. Um, well, I just want to remind folks that for the our last episode for this sort of test season is going to be on August 17th at 10:30 a.m. And I'm going to be talking with another one of KBLIC partners, and that is SCORE. And we'll talk about small business mentoring and another resource that you can use to start your small business or help you build your small business. Again, thank you so much, Derek, for sharing your insight and sharing this wonderful set of programs. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes, thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.